tân dân chủ dạng người anh đô quang vinh, quyết chí hy sinh cho dân nước Nam được thái bình, đem ấm no cho dân ta hết một đời lầm than.
Most respectfully, we greet and address your Imperial Majesty, Emperor Dao Min Quan, our beloved leader. Dear esteemed audiences and friends, we warmly invite you to listen to the stories about the life of Emperor Dao Min Quan. In today's program, we will explore the youth of His Majesty, Emperor Dao Min Quan, the story of the Xiangqi game. When we talk about the board, there are generally two types of games, chess and Xiangqi. Both games are played on a board divided into two sides. In chess, the sides are black and white, and the key piece is the king. If a player loses their king, they lose the game. In Xiangqi, the sides are red and green, and the key piece is the general. If the general is trapped and unable to move, the game is lost. Chess is widely popular in Western countries, while Xiangqi is particularly popular in Asian countries, especially Vietnam and China. In Xiangqi, the opening moves are crucial, accounting for nearly 50% of the game's outcome. A strong opening allows key pieces like the chariots, cannons, and horses to occupy strategic positions on the board. If one plays the opening well and makes precise middle game moves, they may not even need to reach the endgame. The Chinese take great pride in their prowess at Xiangqi. In world championships, Chinese players frequently dominate, rarely facing any worthy opponents. One such champion was Li Jihai, a renowned Xiangqi master from China. Perhaps his championship title wasn't enough to satisfy him, or maybe he wanted the additional title of being invincible. Thus, he sought out worthy opponents to challenge. One day, he heard about an exceptional Xiangqi player, Mr. Nguyen Van Tan, a retired civil engineer living in Thai near Jiadin. Li Jihai immediately sent a challenge to him. On the day of the match, Mr. Nguyen Van Tan claimed illness and sent his grandson to play in his place. That young boy was none other than His Highest Emperor Dao Min Quan, who was only 14 years old at the time. Before the game began, Li Jihai looked at his young, frail opponent with disdain. He remarked, "I only need one hand to play." His strategy was to intimidate the boy, hoping to make him fearful before the game even began. He assumed the boy was like any other ordinary child. However, he was taken aback when the boy confidently replied, "With you, I only need one finger to play." The boy's composure and confidence shook Li Jihai. Here was a boy with no known reputation in the international Xiangqi community, yet he showed no fear of the renowned master. The boy even offered Li Jihai the first move. This act was a psychological blow, inflaming Li Jihai's pride. Though the game had yet to start, Li Jihai was already mentally unsettled. The game commenced with Li Jihai controlling the red pieces, making the first move, advancing his soldier to cross the river. This opening move was intended to gauge how his opponent would respond, allowing him to maintain the upper hand. The boy, controlling the green pieces, responded by advancing his own soldier to confront Li Jihai's. This move startled Li Jihai. Why would his opponent sacrifice a piece so early? Yet, the boy remained calm. Underestimating him further, Li Jihai quickly captured the boy's soldier. The boy, in turn, continued to position his chariots, cannons, and horses strategically, diverting Li Jihai's focus to protecting his soldier that had crossed the river. As the game progressed, the boy's pieces occupied key positions on the board, attacking areas that Li Jihai hadn't fortified. The game ended swiftly, with the boy checkmating Li Jihai's general in just the opening and middle stages, without needing to play through to the end game. Remarkably, when Li Jihai's general was trapped, his chariots, cannons, and horses were still intact. A bitter defeat for the Chinese champion at the hands of a 14-year-old Vietnamese boy. This story showcases the intelligence, skill, and courage of Emperor Dao Min Quan. Even at the age of 14, he exhibited remarkable poise, strategy, and determination. When Li Jihai tried to use psychological tactics to intimidate him, the emperor turned those tactics against him, preying on his arrogance. The more prideful one becomes, the more they underestimate their opponent, and when their pride is wounded, they lose their composure. Sensing this, the emperor allowed Li Jihai to make the first move, further unbalancing him. The emperor's move to offer his soldier as a sacrifice is known as the strategy of using no strategy to defeat strategy, or empty fortress strategy. By avoiding conventional opening moves, the emperor rendered Li Jihai's years of study and experience useless. Li Jihai, enticed by a minor advantage, lost sight of the bigger picture, leading to his rapid defeat. Today, his highest emperor, Dao Min Quan, is engaged in another critical game, a battle for the survival of the Vietnamese nation. His opponent is again Communist China, and the strategy remains the same as in his game against Li Jihai. In the past, the emperor used no strategy to defeat Li Jihai by offering a soldier for sacrifice. Today, he uses an international lawsuit against China for infiltrating a spy, disguised as Ho Chi Minh, to steal Vietnam. When the lawsuit was acknowledged by the International Criminal Court, ICC, it was sent to Xi Jinping. Arrogantly, and underestimating the significance of the Provisional National Government of Vietnam, Xi Jinping signed twice to receive the lawsuit. The second time, he did so because he believed that China, now a world power second only to the United States, could never be challenged by a small government in exile. Xi Jinping's arrogance contrasts sharply with Deng Xiaoping's advice to hide your strength, bide your time. Ignoring this wisdom has led him to the precarious position of the dragon with regrets. Like a kite flying too high, it eventually encounters strong winds that it cannot withstand, causing it to crash to the ground. Xi Jinping now finds himself in a similar situation. Overambitious and overconfident, he faces inevitable consequences. The decision from the International Environmental Court on April 14, 2021, confirmed that Emperor Dao Min Quan has checkmated Xi Jinping and the entire Chinese Communist Party. They have been ordered to pay $38 trillion to the emperor, with an 8% quarterly interest if they delay payment. This is akin to the way the emperor checkmated Li Jihai, leaving all of his major pieces untouched. As Emperor Dao Min Quan has taught, the greatest failure comes from arrogance. This story teaches us that the strong do not always win, and the weak do not always lose. If we employ the right strategies and tactics, we can turn the tables, making the weak strong and the likely loser a winner. The battle between the national government of Vietnam, led by his highest emperor, Dao Min Quan, and the tyrannical Vietnamese and Chinese communist regimes, follows the same logic. Though the national government of Vietnam may appear small and exiled in the United States, many question, how can the national government of Vietnam defeat China and the Vietnamese Communist Party? However, the undeniable reality is that the national government of Vietnam, under the emperor's leadership, has struck at the very heart of the ruthless communist regime. He not only struck correctly, but also hit their fatal weakness. In a battle where the two sides were not equally matched, like the chess game we just mentioned, through his strategy, brilliant intellect, and outstanding leadership skills, the Emperor Đào Minh Quang will lead the national government of Vietnam to a glorious victory, bringing peace and prosperity back to Vietnam as a gift to the entire Vietnamese people. Just as in the past, the Emperor won a chess game against a master player to present it as a gift to his grandfather. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just listened to a story from the youth of Imperial Duke Emperor Đào Minh Quang. In our next program, we will share an intriguing story about his youthful love and the poem, The Schoolings. Please stay tuned for the next episode. We respectfully and sincerely thank the Imperial Duke Emperor Đào Minh Quang. We also extend our gratitude to our audiences for watching our program. Respectfully, we bid you farewell and look forward to seeing you again.
Sang anh đua tần Việt Nam soi sáng muôn nhà, cho tương lai thăng hoa nước non Việt ngàn năm.